Buongiorno and welcome to my podcast, My Way of Thinking, or MWOT for short. See that on the cap? Bit of merch. Hashtag MWOT. These are designer. I'll be selling them for £55.99. An absolute bargain. No, that's a lie. I won't be selling them as merch. But someone bought me this, which was a nice present, I thought. All the way from China. Very expensive. Maybe one day I'll start selling merch when I've got like 5 million subscribers. So that'll probably never happen. Anyway, I'm going to stop going on. So welcome here with me, Lee Greeno, here live from the Man Cave every week. Now, I hope you're doing really well. This week is a pretty special week. We're leading up to Christmas. Now, please remember, I am interviewing the big man, the big SC, the big Santa Claus, live from Lapland, and that's on Sunday at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on YouTube or on the podcast. Get all your kiddie winks to watch it because it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to be asking him questions that he's never asked before. Like, what does he buy Mrs. Claus for Christmas? How's he dealing with Amazon Prime? All these kind of things. It's going to be fun. And, I've already been in touch with him. And Santa is just a lovely guy. Trust me, I had to jump through a lot of hoops. That's Sunday, 6 p.m. Now, my way of thinking is all about us human beings that all have stories to tell. Those stories can vary massively. But the guests I'll be interviewing, you'll always be able to take a little bit of our voice or insight into how extraordinary we can all be. Remember, 4 rules. 4 rules, that's 2. 4 rules. 1, no bullshitting. 2, no judging. 3, no negativity. And 4, have fun. Now, today I'm talking to the brilliant Jess McLish. Jess is the founder of Coventry Rocks, a brilliant website where it talks all about what's happening in Coventry and loads of support on there as well for parents. And that's where the conversation goes, really. We talk a lot about parenting, how parenting's affected her. I talk about how parenting affected me. It's just a really interesting chat, and you'll actually absolutely love Jess. I love what she's doing, and it's a really great chat. So without further ado, here's me talking to Jess. So welcome to My Way of Thinking, and I have a very special guest on today, all the way from just over the border, Coventry, and it is Jess McLish. How are you, Jess?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, you might change your mind on that at the end of the interview.
Uh-oh.
You might say, why did he ask me on? No, the majority of guests are happy when they finish the interview, which is the main thing. I try and it's more of a conversation than me just blatting out loads of questions. So don't worry, it's all good. I'll be gentle. Now, I read the news in the morning, and the news is quite depressing. It annoys me because I was in a conversation. I interviewed someone about meditation and things like that the other day, and they said the worst thing you can do in the morning is look straight at your phone, which is what I do. So I'm trying not to, because too many of us do. But I need to know what's going on in the world, which is pretty sad, really, but it's just, so I always look at fun stories. So, I'll get through the deep, dark stuff, and then look at some fun stories. And a couple caught my eye this morning. I always like to go through them. And one's relevant to me this morning, believe it or not. So this is the first one, which was quite funny. An unlucky suspect car thief was arrested after falling neck deep in a slurry pit in a bid to escape from the police. The runaway, a passenger of a stolen car, was hoping to get away, but ended up in a trench of farmyard manure and was arrested covering, it says cow poo, cow shit. Sussex police officers jokingly said it was not his lucky day on a post, and a photo of him on social media. And this photo, I'll put it on the link. He is just covered in manure. And I just love the thought of this guy going, I'm going to go and run for it, and then straight in a pile of cow crap.
Yeah, he won't do that again, will he?
No. Eager to evade and fleeing in a hurry, the suspect was eventually arrested. I bet the police weren't happy having to arrest him, to be fair. But yeah, there's a picture of that. He was arrested. Sussex police said that him and another person failed to stop and was found to steal a car. PC Scott Franklin of Sussex Police said, "We'd like to speak to the driver of a blue BMW that was nearly involved in a head-on collision with these guys." So, it's funny they got covered in crap, but it's a serious, these people that steal cars, it's serious and can really damage lives. So good. So that's the first one. That picture's just, you can smell it. When you look at a picture, you can smell it. Now, this one is relevant to me. So this is all about a pie-eyed and bushy-tailed Minnesota squirrel. A squirrel in Minnesota has enjoyed an early and especially festive start to the holiday by being videoed apparently drunk. The inebriated squirrel was caught swaying on camera by Katie Morlock of Minnesota, who had put out an old pear from her fridge in her garden for the wildlife to eat. But apparently, the squirrel returned apparently worse for wear, and then she dawned on me those pears were really old and they fermented. So the tipsy squirrel seemed to enjoy the pear so much, and you can see this squirrel is pissed. You just know it. It's like that. So it's bless it. It's so funny. In the morning, he came back for his little hangover breakfast, and he's been fine ever since. But I don't give him out any pears anymore. Bless him. So if you get a chance, look at that video. I'll put a link as well, because he is definitely drunk. Bless him. But that's quite relevant to me, because we had a mouse in the house. And last night, because we've got quite a big garden, we've always got creatures, and we've got a big tree as well. And we knew we had a mouse. We could hear it scratching. So I was just trying to work out what to do, because I wanted to put poison down. My daughter's like, we can't kill it. So anyway, last night I was sitting in the living room, and my Christmas tree is on my left, and I heard it move. And I thought, that's just one of the presents fall over. So anyway, turn round. There's a mouse there looking at me.
In the tree?
Underneath a tree. And oh my God, I screamed. It's about 12 o'clock. Leapt up. My wife and the kids were in bed. They come rushing down. What's okay with you? And I said, the mouse is in the living room. So then at 12 o'clock at night, I had to go and get an old trap that I've got, but it's just a cage that it goes into so it doesn't kill it, while keeping the doors shut, treading on sofas so you're not on the floor. And then we put a bit of cheese in there. I was like, please get trapped, because I didn't want to kill it. Came down this morning, got him. Boom! Yeah. He was in the little trap, his little face.
Oh, was he all right?
Yeah, it was fine. It was quite cute, actually, but you could tell he weren't happy. So we just released him about an hour ago, went over the park, released him. He was like, woo! And I was well happy with that. I know, yeah. But I tell you what, when I heard it last night, have you ever had a mouse or a rat or anything?
No, we haven't had anything in the house. We used to have a pet hamster, who was an absolute legend, Ronnie. But no, we haven't had a mouse in the house.
These are a different level. These are like on LSD. These mice, because obviously they're wild and they, like like that. Yeah. Pretty scary. So so I nearly had a heart attack last night, but it all turned out good. So there you go. There's my little story for this one. Anyway, enough about me. This is all about you, Jess. So first of all, obviously we know you run the successful Coventry Rocks, and we're going to get to that. But I'm always interested in how life led to that. So tell us a little bit about growing up. So did you grow up in Coventry?
No, I didn't. I grew up in Sandhurst in Berkshire.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. And growing up, I suppose I had quite a normal childhood, very happy. Grew up with my mum, dad, big brother, and a cocker spaniel. So all quite normal. I remember enjoying school.
School.
Yeah, I really enjoyed music and maths and graphics.
All right.
And I did lots of kind of extracurricular music activities. I remember my mum constantly driving me and my brother around to piano lessons and flute recitals and all that jazz. So then after school I went to a local sixth form college, and again I studied graphics there, graphics, music and maths, but kind of really loved the graphics. And when I started to think about university and a future career, that was the road that I really wanted to go down. Off I went to Loughborough University.
So what was it? What do you think sparked your interest in graphics and that? Was it, you've always been creative? Do you like photography or drawing or?
I always liked art, but I've also got quite a mathsy, logical sort of side to my brain, I suppose. So I found graphics to be quite a good combination of the two.
Yeah, I guess. Because it's like creative, but in an organised fashion. Would that be right in saying?
Yeah, I would never have been any good at fine art. And actually, I think I would have found maths on its own very boring. But somehow, graphics is a good combination of the two. So
did you? So you went to Loughborough University. How long did you do? 3 years, was it? Or
I did a 4-year course, but 1 year was working. Worked at Boots head office in Nottingham, actually.
Oh, cool!
In their packaging department.
Yeah.
And I've worked in packaging ever since, and worked on some pretty good brands. So
when you say graphics, does someone give you a concept of what they're after, and then you design it all on the computer? Is that how it works? Tell us a bit how that works.
Yeah, so now I'm not doing the actual designing, but I'm leading a team of people who do that. But in previous jobs, I've worked with a design agency who come up with something that looks fantastic, but how do you get that printed onto a bottle of bubble bath? How do you get that onto the shelves? So that was my job, to take this amazing visual and to make sure I could print it without it costing the world, and getting it onto shelf. So I've worked on Radox, Brill Cream, Making Bubble Bath, Aldi, GSK, so some really good brands, and put my kind of stamp on all of their packaging. So I think that's quite cool. Bit geeky.
I bet, because it's quite funny. I mean, especially this time of year with COVID and everything, everything's ordered. We've ordered. I mean, the boxes from Amazon here. Amazon are killing it. I mean, they're going to become, they're already. Jeff Bezos is going to own the world. But the packaging, I bet you look at it totally different to other people, because you get it. You rip the box off, and then the actual packaging of the thing, if you are not wrapping it up or sending it to Santa, you just tend to cut it off and throw it away. But actually, if you take time to look at some of this packaging, it's amazing, isn't it, how they do it?
Yeah, definitely. And my husband won't come to the supermarket with me anymore, because I'm constantly just, oh, that's new. How did they do that? Oh, look at the foil. Yeah, get very excited about bottles of shower gel and stuff. But it's really interesting. And I suppose it's one of those jobs that you don't realise exists. So there are people that do this for every brand in the world. So it's I like it.
Yeah, it's sort of quiet talent that goes unrecognised, but it's everywhere we go, isn't it? I remember many years ago, I was a manager at Cadbury. This is my little claim to fame. I was a manager of the Cadbury Cream Egg line.
Oh, that's a good line.
And they implemented this machine for millions and millions of pounds that used to wrap the egg in the foil.
Yeah.
And as you can understand from packaging perspective, that is a pain in the arse to try and wrap that perfectly. And and it always amazed me that they'd spend millions and millions, and yet they had a couple of people looking to make sure the foil covered the whole egg. Because if it didn't, then it had to be sent back. And you think, well, you've spent millions and millions, but you've got these people checking.
It's a very important job, though, because there's a little bit of chocolate poking out. Why would you?
I know, it's mad, isn't it? So where did you go from there when you'd finished at uni?
I went travelling for 6 months, which was the most amazing time, but ran out of money, decided to come home, and get a proper job.
Where did you go? Yeah. Where did you go?
It was the classic backpacker route, really. So Thailand, Laos, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Bali, Australia for 2 months.
Oh, nice.
New Zealand. Ran out of money in New Zealand because I did too many extreme activities.
Yeah, as you do.
My dad
go on your own, or
money.
did you go on your own or with friends?
Went with an ex-boyfriend, actually. Yeah, we had a brilliant time. I actually dislocated my kneecap on my second week.
Yeah. Oh.
Which wasn't the best. And writing home to mum and dad. I just slipped. It's the stupidest story. I'd been climbing a waterfall and was absolutely fine. And then I was walking back to the tuk-tuk and, fell over and it just popped out.
Oh.
And we were in the middle of nowhere, basically like a nature reserve, but there was nobody there. It was raining. And my knee was all out of its socket. So the guy I was traveling with had to go with some random guy in a tuk-tuk. They left me. They went to find a stretcher to put me on. They ended up taking a front door off of someone's hut or whatever.
Yeah.
Brought me back, put me on this stretcher in the back of a tuk-tuk. The most painful journey, all the bumps in the roads and everything. But anyway, I got to a village where this doctor lived and he gave me some wacky injection and I felt so much better.
It's funny you say that, when I was a kid, my knee used to dislocate now and again. And once it went on an ice rink. I'll never touch ice rinks now because I was trying to get it. It's just always something if your knee's a little bit awkward. And I remember my knee was out, it was dislocated, and I was in so much pain. And I went to the hospital, and this doctor just said, relax. And I went, what? He just said, just relax. Because it was dislocated, I was so tense, the pain, that was the problem. And I relaxed, and he just pulled my leg, and it popped back in. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
But the pain, it was horrendous. And touch wood, I grew since, seemed to grow out of it. I think it was something when I was younger, but I totally relate to you. Bloody hurts.
Yeah.
Are you always careful now?
It's not too bad, to be fair. I do a lot of running now, and it doesn't give me any issues.
Yeah,
I'm quite lucky, really, because I know quite a lot of friends whose knees just pop out randomly when they run.
I know.
But no, I'm okay.
I find running, if anything, is a good thing because it sort of strengthens the muscles up around the knee and leg. You know what I mean? And it can only be a good thing, can't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've done this all with this packaging, and then you start thinking about something else. Now, obviously with Coventry Rocks, but let's go back to sort of where that first started. Not Coventry Rocks, but I think I'm right in saying it's when you first had kids. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I became a mum 4 years ago. Grace has just turned 4.
Oh.
And I've got two, one 4-year-old and one 9-month-old.
Yeah.
So they're keeping me busy. So when I first became a mum, I just spent a long time looking for things to do with her. And don't get me wrong, there's so much to do in Coventry with kids. There are so many groups at the libraries and dance classes and music lessons and parks and museums and stuff. But I suppose it was a frustration that nothing was in the same place. I had to spend ages kind of looking on Facebook and then on Google, and then what park can we go to? And so bit kind of frustrated with not being able to find stuff. But it wasn't until we had my second that I really I got the itch to do something about it, to actually change what I'd been doing for work and give it a go. So I did a little bit of research and I stumbled across the My Town Rocks franchise.
All right.
It was just on one of these working mums websites, an advert for franchise owners. And I just got digging, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. So the website, the interface that My Town Rocks had designed was just so simple, so colourful, so clean, and it just worked really well. And I just remember thinking, well, if I'd have had that 4 years ago, with everything there is to do in Coventry, you know, it would be a godsend. So it was one of those things where, you know, you just can't stop thinking about it. It kept me awake at night. It really kind of niggled away at me until I emailed the owner, Laura, and we met up and got on like a house on fire, and I ended up signing up to manage Coventry. So Coventry Rocks was born.
Now, just going back a little bit, which this is the interesting thing for me. When you're a new mother, you feel, I mean, I've been a new dad, but not a new mother. But, and when we first had my son, my wife struggled. And I think with postnatal depression, but we didn't know at the time. And for a woman, it takes all that out of you. You come home, then your husband goes back to work, people have stopped coming round. It's quite a lonely time, isn't it? You know what I mean? Mentally, it must be exhausting. I really feel for new mothers. I think, especially if you've got a husband that's not understanding or you're on your own. Tell us a little bit about that, because like you say, to have what you're doing as a support system would be a godsend, wouldn't it? What was it like for you? Was it similar? Was it really lonely?
Yeah, first time around with Grace wasn't as bad. I don't know why. Husband went back to work after 2 weeks, and it was difficult, but I had quite a good kind of mum network, all these WhatsApp groups constantly popping off and meeting people for coffee. And at that time, I mean, I think I did about 4 baby groups a week with Grace. We did swimming and music and all sorts of stuff. So we were busy and really enjoyed it. But cut to when Ruby was born. So she was born middle of February. So that's between 4 and 6 weeks before the national lockdown.
Yeah.
And before the lockdown even happened, I was really struggling. And I think part of it was the shock that why am I struggling? This is my second. I should have this down. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing with babies. I've done it before. Yeah. Why is it so hard this time? But it was. And we had a really, really good birth with both girls actually, but with Ruby, I kind of felt a bit like a superhero for those that day or two after.
Pop 'em out.
You know, I saw my mum. She was like, "Why do you look so good? You know, you're amazing." And then day 3, 4, 5 hit, and I was just rock bottom. I just didn't want to see anyone. Couldn't get out of bed. I was breastfeeding, but was kind of really struggling. Had to drag myself out to these support groups to get some help, and really not good. And I wasn't right again for maybe 4 or 6 weeks, but then that's when the lockdown happened, and all of a sudden I had a 3-year-old at home, a husband who was working from home then, and a newborn to keep alive. So it was just utter madness, and then a business to keep ticking over.
It's hard.
Yeah, it was really hard, and to be honest, I don't fully remember all of that time. I think adrenaline probably kicked in and I just got through it. I don't remember what we necessarily did day to day. I know that both kids are still alive and they're happy and I'm still going. So, you know, but it's really hard. And that situation where you could only have half an hour exercise each day, when you've got to trundle around the block with a toddler in a pram, that's all you can get for the day.
Your timing was pretty terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I timed it much worse.
I suppose Ruby was born middle of Feb, so she got to meet her grandparents and a couple of our closest friends. But I'd actually cancelled quite a few visits from friends because I just wasn't feeling myself and I just didn't want to see anyone. But I think had I known that we wouldn't actually see them all year, I would have probably done it. But she still hasn't met a lot of my you know, old school friends, and Even people that live around the corner have never met her. So
Yeah.
yeah, funny odd year for the little one. And she's not hardly been to any baby groups. She hasn't got any baby friends. We haven't had any play dates. It's a completely different start to what Grace had.
Yeah. It has been rubbish, but one thing I would say is, you know, the positives. Obviously, the vaccine's starting to roll out, and hopefully we turn a corner. And the other thing is, you're never going to forget, you know, the year your baby was born, are you? You know, 2020. Wow, she's going to be in school, and she's going to, I was born then, just before it all kicked off, and it's going to be written in history, isn't it? So it is. I think it's been hard for a lot of people. It's all about how you cope and how you push forward. The main thing is you don't give in to it or just sit there and wallow in it. And like you say, you just get on with it and do what you need to. And it's funny where you say you can't really remember. I think sometimes when times are hard, you almost go on automatic, especially mothers, and they'll naturally do what they need to do, and they'll, you know, be brilliant mothers. But because they're just not feeling right, or things are happening, it's sort of just you're on automatic mum mode, aren't you?
I think that's what happened. The great thing is actually, and I don't know how or why it happened, but I created like a photo album for her, for Grace. And I just did it, photos from my phone. I bunged them into an app every night. And I don't even know why I had the idea to do it. Like I say, I don't remember every day, but when I pressed print and got this book back, it was amazing. And I did so much with her. I did something different every day. We did home learning. We had loads of fun. We, you know, had scavenger hunts around the woods and loads of stuff. And I'm so glad I've got that book to think, do you know what? I don't remember anything of it, but we definitely did stuff.
She
learned and she had fun.
I think as well as parents, sometimes we feel really guilty. I've done this as well, and my wife does it, where we'll go, especially when they're on holiday, like, we've hardly done anything with the kids. But then actually I'll turn around and say, well, hold on, we did this. We did this, we did it. And you're like, actually, we did do quite a lot. But you beat yourself up, don't you? You think, did we do enough? Are the kids happy? And I just think that's just a natural parent thing, I think.
Yeah. And I think I was really lucky because Ruby she just learned to kind of sit in her bouncy chair and watch the world go by. And so lucky that she's healthy. She hasn't had any kind of reflux or anything like that. So she would just wake up when she was hungry. She'd have a quick feed, go back to sleep. Until probably month 3, where she wanted, you know, a few more cuddles.
But, you're gonna get.
I could actually dedicate most of my time to Grace and making sure that she was getting enough in between feeds and stuff. So. Very, very lucky. And we're also lucky that, you know, COVID has not affected us in any way. We've all been totally healthy, including grandparents and everything. So, definitely could be a lot worse.
Good stuff. So, with Coventry Rocks then, I mean, the website is brilliant website. I love it. And you've got all these different things. So, tell us a little bit about what it is. So is it where you can go onto it and look at different things or different meetups, or just give us a bit of an idea about it all?
I suppose the best thing about it is that it's got everything on it. It's supposed to have everything on it. This year we're going to have to take quite a lot down. It's got baby and toddler groups. It's got kids activities. It's now got online stuff and things to do when you're at home with the kids. It's got all the local attractions, so the museums, things like Go Ape and climbing walls and stuff like that. And also some ideas for day trips. So within an hour of Coventry, where could you go, you know, on a sunny Sunday or whatever. It's got a kids party section, and it's got a guide section, which has got kind of a few what's on articles. So places to feed the ducks in Coventry and great places for a picnic and stuff like that. So hopefully, as a one website, it's got everything that a family needs to, you know, make the most of their weekends and to get out and about with their kids.
Yeah, and that's really good, because I know it sounds simple, but there's been times where I've thought, I want to go for a walk with my daughter and the dogs. Where's best to go? And you think, you know what I mean? And then you're racking your brains. What's great about this? You can go onto it. You can just look at all these different things. It gives you plenty of information. So it really, and the other thing is it covers, stuff about being care for being a busy parent, or, you've got all the other things like coping with loss. I've seen that, and some brilliant articles and stuff like that. So it's not just, right, we want to visit this and we want to do this. It's also got a lot of self-care and helpful support on there as well, hasn't it?
Yeah. And I think a lot of mums and dads would think, I'd really like to try somewhere new. I'd really like to find a new park or play area, say. But then you tend to just go to the same places because you know them, you know where to park, you know that there's a toilet, you know that there's a baby change. And I suppose I want to encourage families to try somewhere different, because there are so many places in Coventry that are absolutely beautiful. And I found loads of like hidden gems, I call them, places where on the drive in, you'd think, oh, hang on, this doesn't look right. Why are we here? And then you'd park up and walk behind, a block of flats or something, and there's this most amazing reservoir and with swans and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You were those kicking around, and I just really like to tell local families about those places, and just try it next time.
Yeah, I remember when, I think it was about a year and a half ago, when I first did my feature film, and we wanted to do some drone footage, but it needed to look like countryside. And I told my cameraman, and he was like, well, we're going to have to go out towards Leicester. And I went, hold on, the Coventry, is not all doom and gloom. And we found some beautiful lanes where we did drone shots in the middle of nowhere, stunning, just on the outskirts, virtually Coventry. And it's like you say, there's some hidden gems. You just need to go out and try something different, or go for a different drive. Because we do get into a routine, don't we, as human beings? I like going there, so that's where I know where I am and I feel safe. But there's something great when you find, if you go for a walk or somewhere, and you find somewhere you've never been before, and you think, wow, and there's a little coffee shop, and you're like, wow, this is great. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, and I remember, I think it was the weekend after the lockdown lifted, and we were just driving past Memorial Park. And obviously we all love Memorial Park. It's brilliant. There's loads to do there for kids, but they'd had to close the car park because it was too full, and people were parking up and down the main road. And I was just thinking, there are so many other places to go. So I'm just gradually spreading the word of lots of different places. Even I walked around a woodlands last week with the baby, and it didn't seem like anything special. I just thought I'd have a little potter, and some of the local residents had built a little fairy village, and there was bunting hanging from the trees. There was lots of like sparkly decorations, and I just thought, wow, that's so cute. And I just want your families to enjoy, places like that. You could spend half a day there potting around with a toddler.
What you're doing is, it's almost like if you were going for a meal with friends, or friends were coming around or whatever, and you're talking about something. I remember when I went Go Ape at Coombe Abbey, and I'd always been to the one at Cannock and other places, and the one at Coombe Abbey was new. And I was like, it won't be as good as Cannock, because Cannock's brilliant. But I said, my daughter's just got to the age where she can go up. So I took her, and I was blown away. It's brilliant. It's far better. It was fantastic. But I always sort of thought, it's going to be busy there, and I won't try it. But I tried it, and I loved it. And that's what you're doing, is you're saying to people, try this. Because I went and it was brilliant. You're sort of recommending that, I would guess everything you've put on here, you can recommend, or you've been to, or about. Do you know what I mean? And because if you put some on and it was rubbish, you're going to get slaughtered, I would guess.
Exactly. Yeah. I make sure that I've been to places, or, a close friend's been, or something like that. Even places where I advise that you park here. It's really close, or it's a residential area, say, but it's fine to park responsibly. Or things like where the nearest place to grab a takeaway coffee is, or, are there toilets there for changing the baby and stuff? I just want to make sure that I'm giving the right information. Is it pushchair friendly? Because you think, do I need the carrier? Do I want the pushchair? I've obviously taken Ruby out a lot in the pushchair and the carrier, so I can kind of recommend either way. So Yeah, good to kind of spread the love a little bit.
Yeah, those tips are, I mean, it's been a while since, it's been, my daughter's 11 now, but yeah, it's been a while. But those tips when you've got especially young babies, you have to be organised, and those little things are an absolute godsend.
Yeah.
Have you got a Facebook group as well? Is there a Facebook group, or is it just?
Oh, yeah. We're all over social media. So
Oh,
we're on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm posting every day something that's going on. So whether it's an outdoor space, it might be a baby group that's got a Christmas special on. It might be something free that's going on. I try and mix it up. But yeah, I'm pretty much posting every day something new. Just signposting people to the website or to various resources. So yeah, Facebook, Instagram, we're on Twitter, and I've just started a YouTube channel as well.
right.
It's small, but fun.
I mean, I put all these conversations on YouTube. I mean, the podcast does quite well, but the YouTube's always hard work. But I just sort of put it on there, and even if 10 people watch it, but they wanted to watch it, then great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Actually, I've just spotted Where to See Father Christmas.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
this might be interesting to you because I have actually interviewed the real Santa Claus. We're doing a special on the. I'll drop you the link actually on the 20th of December at 6:00, and it's me interviewing Santa from Lapland and asking him all the hard questions, like how does he eat so many mince pies and things like that. And it's brilliant for kids. So yeah, so I'll send you a link to that because kids will love that. And I thought they can watch it from home, and it's not because we can't get out and about to grottos as easy, so it is difficult. So I thought it'd be a nice thing to do for kids. So yeah, world exclusive there.
Oh, very good.
But yeah, so where do you see this going in the future then? Obviously, I would guess it's not helped with COVID because especially, when summer comes, hopefully next year it's going to be, vibrant and everyone's going to be going out and about. So where do you see this going in the future? Where would you like it to go?
Well, I suppose my main aim is for it to be the go-to guide in Coventry. So I want it to be there on everyone's phones, the touch of a button. There are hundreds of places to go with your kids. And we're getting there. I mean, I've had 74,000 families with the website this year. It's our first year, so I think they're pretty good figures. And we've got over 5,000 followers across all the channels. So I'm off to a good start, but I really want it to be the number one, places to go, things to do in Coventry. There's lots of stuff that I've got in the planning for next year. Hopefully everything will be back to normal and I can put everything back on the site. But I'm going to be developing the Shop Local collection that I put together for Christmas. So I wrote an article in time for kind of the Christmas shopping flurry, showcasing quite a few local businesses that were producing some really fantastic little presents and gifts, not just for kids, but for grown-ups, things like stocking fillers and decorations and cards. And I got a really good collection together, and that's gone out there, and that's been really popular. I've had hundreds of people visit that page, and I know that a lot of purchases have been done, so that's really good. I'm going to be building on that in next year and building a bit more of a directory for these small local businesses, give them somewhere to advertise. So when it comes to Mother's Day or a kid's birthday or something, then you don't have to go to Amazon. There's somewhere around the corner
I know.
That produces something great.
I know, you're right, and it is sad. I mean, like I say, I've ordered loads off Amazon. I do try and support local businesses. It's just the fact we haven't been able to go out to as many, which is a shame. But the more we do local businesses, definitely, because next year is going to be a massive year for them if they've managed to get through this year. It's a massive thing. So that's brilliant, and there's loads of good information on there, definitely. God, it must have been hard this year to be like a small local business, mustn't it? It must be horrendous.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to help them. And a lot of them are, like living room businesses. They're just mums like me who wanted to earn a little bit of pocket money for Christmas time. There's one lady in Kenilworth who makes crayons. She's called Scribbling Tinkers, and she's amazing. And she makes letters, and you can spell your kid's name in crayons. And I've got a couple of those for my nieces. And just things you wouldn't really think of, but it didn't cost much. I went to pick them up from her and had a nice chat on her doorstep. Just kind of nice to give something back to these local businesses.
And the thing is as well with these local businesses, a lot of them we don't have a clue, what's happening or what people do. I went to it was something to do with films and stuff like that, and it was at Fargo Village, and there was a lady there. You might know her actually. I can't remember. She gave me a card, and she does animation for kids. So like as animation, like, do you know what I mean?
Gemma,
showing me, and I thought, wow, what a brilliant thing to bring your kid there and teach them animation at a young age. And they might go on and say, I want to do this, or how creative. And I thought I'd have never, if I hadn't met her at that meeting, I would not have had a bloody clue. And something like that for a kid's party. Wow, it's things like that, isn't it? So you know her, dear.
Yeah, I did a bit of a piece on her. She's got an article in our Support Local section. I spent about an hour with her, interviewing her and having a look at everything that she'd been doing with some local schools. And she's done quite a lot for the community, as well as things like parties and half-term workshops and stuff. So yeah, she's absolutely brilliant. And I think you think, I wish I'd thought of that. That's just such a brilliant idea.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I can see Buggy Workout. Well, where I do my day-to-day job at Moat House, Moat House, they do buggy workout and all that kind of thing there. And that's another great thing for mums, buggy workout, something as simple as that. You can go have a workout because, years ago, I'd be like, I can't have a workout because I've got a baby. Well, no, you can take them in the pram. They're obviously going around parks now because obviously they can't do it inside. And it's little things like that that will really help new mums, especially. And I think that's just brilliant, and definitely where, you've got all your different things, all your groups and classes, kids parties and stuff like that. I think is a godsend, especially parties. I remember when our kids were little, and it's like, what do you do? We've done this party, we've done the obvious one, we've done the bouncy castle to death. And you've got the drama one, you got the drama parties and so many different ones, and crafts, and I love it. Not that I'd have a baby again. I don't think I could take that stress. So now I always ask my guests, what's the best bit of advice you've had, Jess? Whether it's you've received it or you could give to someone that maybe is struggling as a mom, or maybe wants to try something different. What sort of advice do you think you could give them?
You mentioned my self-care for busy parents article. Well, it was actually a labour of love. I kind of just set about writing it almost to myself. Things were getting a little bit crazy, and when I get super busy and super stressed and frazzled, it's a bit of a downward spiral, and it takes me a while to come out of that. So I really wanted to almost write this to myself and any other busy mums and dads, carers or whatever, grandparents. And I think when someone mentions self-care, you think, I haven't got time for self-care. I haven't got time to spend an hour doing yoga or meditation and all that kind of stuff. So these are really, really short, under 5-minute things that you can do to kind of turn your day around and to just be able to breathe again and just feel a little bit like you again, to be able to then put your energy into being a parent. And it's things that sound a little bit silly, but they really work. So putting on your favorite song and, closing the curtains and just dancing around like a loon and playing the air guitar and stuff. That's 2-3 minutes worth of song, but you feel so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
Things like walking a bit further, so park a little bit further away at the school run and, walk or jog there just to kind of get a little bit of fresh air after a long day at the desk. Things like that, things like painting your nails. If you've got, some crazy neatness, you can look down at your pretty nails and just feel a little bit better about yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much and it doesn't sound like much, but they're little things that can kind of just really help. And they help you go from shouty mum to fun mum.
That's great advice, because you do see some mums and you can tell they're not giving themselves self-care at all. And I think, being a mum is so all-consuming, isn't it? And it's like you say, so you've got your blinkers on that you're looking after this child and it's hard work, and you forget that you can actually paint your nails or, listen to a song.
Yeah.
And it's just those, it goes back to the meditation lady I was talking to, only needs to be a couple of minutes, but just something where your mind can have a little bit of a break and a bit of a clean out. So no, that's great advice. Now, I always ask my guests for a favourite, so it can be a book, a film, a food, just something that is accessible. I have a massive list now. I do have some already, and I've started reading them because they are all brilliant books. I've got a feeling you're going to tell me a book, so I've got the pen ready to write another book that I've got to buy this Christmas.
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, what is it?
The problem is with a favourite film or food, like it really depends on your mood, doesn't it? Or the season or whatever. So yeah, I won't bore you with all my favourite films, but the book I'm reading at the moment, I think it's quickly becoming a bit of a Bible for me. And I think it's going to be a book that I constantly go back to, and I'm going to kind of bookmark a bunch of pages. It's called The Work Parent Switch by Anita Clare. And it's all about busy working parents, a lot of which we've talked about already, but about how to make the most of your time at home with your kids, despite having no time, no energy, and having lots and lots of things spinning around your head. And it talks about what your kids really need from their parents, and also some useful kind of strategies almost for certain situations, like getting out the door on time or homework and things like that. It's quite interesting. I think I appreciate the logic behind it. I appreciate kind of knowing kind of the science behind it all. And it talks about, at work, we are efficient. We have our list of things to do. We work through our tasks to get to the end, and we tick it off our list and we move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But actually what our kids need is the complete opposite of that. They need parents who are in the moment, who are in tune, who are playful and silly, who aren't rushing. And going from working mum to playful mum is really, really hard. And the book gives you a few kind of ideas for things that you can do to make that switch. And actually now I think it's more important than ever, because we're all working from home, or most of us are. So we don't have that hour-long drive or that, bus journey to get home anymore. I mean, my husband has been sat in the study working since March, and he, shuts down his laptop at 5:30, and he's dad, and then he's got to play Lego. And it's how do you kind of adjust having a super busy day, presenting to management, going to doing Frozen voices with the Lego pieces. So it's really difficult. I think it's a really useful book. I would recommend it to, even if you're not a working mum, just any kind of busy parent, anyone busy. I think it's useful.
And I think what I tend to do, and as I've got older, is I question my decisions, or if I get stressed about something that maybe the kids have done, before I go off on one, I'll actually think, hold on. My wife's really good at this, because she'll pull me back and say, hold on a sec, is it that bad? You know what I mean? That your son's used your toothbrush.
Yeah.
Is it that bad? You know what I mean? And it's the little
Yeah.
niggly things you get. And I have started to reflect a lot more and sort of say, hold on, it's not that. You know, I'm still not perfect. Don't get me wrong. There are
Mm-hmm.
times I want to throttle him, but it's definitely helped as I've got older. Is being able to just step back and reflect before you dive in at the deep end.
Yeah.
And think, oh, you've done that wrong. Oh, why have you done that? Oh, you know, because they're kids at the end of the day. Kids are kids.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually. Part of this book talks about the kids need a good balance of warmth and attention, and that's what they need. That's what they need to develop well and kind of be happy and calm and content. And it talks about when our kids are playing nice and quietly and they're getting on with their siblings and they're just playing with their toys, we don't acknowledge that. Well, I certainly don't. I would take that opportunity to go and start tea or check my emails or go to the toilet or something. But as soon as they start making noise or trashing the place, we're on to them. We're straight in there. What are you doing now? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's giving them attention. It might be negative attention, but it's still attention. Yeah. And so this book talks about flipping that on its head. So when they're playing really nicely and quietly, to just go in and say, oh, thank you so much for playing so quietly. This is brilliant. Or go and play with them. And when they're, trashing the place, to try and ignore that, or
try and ignore it,
go mental at them, and give them that attention, because they're just going to keep doing it because you're with them, talking to them, aren't you? So yeah, that's been kind of quite an interesting learning. And I think over the last few months, I've realised that both my girls, and bear in mind Ruby's not even one yet, but both of them love when I'm happy, which sounds so simple, but when I'm having a really fun, silly time putting on the American voices for Frozen Lego and all that kind of stuff, when I'm in the zone of it, they love it and they just giggle, and we could play like that for hours. It doesn't happen as often as it should, but that's what I'm really kind of trying to learn, to put my phones away and just try and be there, be in the zone with it. And I think we have a much nicer afternoon and kind of bedtime routine when we've had that experience.
It's funny, isn't it? The kids are learning and you're teaching them, but as parents, you're learning. And I think that's the key, is as a parent, being open and realising you've got to learn and accepting that. But it is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's a great thing, and yes, it can be stressful and hard, but afterwards, wow, when the kids are growing up, you think, wow, I did all right there. I did all right. It was hard work. It's never been easy, is it? It's never going to be easy. Come on.
It's the hardest job I ever had, for sure.
But the most rewarding, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, if people want to, obviously you've got Coventry Rocks. Give us a quick. I'll put it in the notes anyway, the links. But give us a quick idea of where we can find you or get hold of Coventry Rocks on that.
Yeah, so the website is coventryrocks.co.uk, and it actually saves down really well as a bookmark on your phone. So if you do just want to access it at the touch of a button, it saves really, really nicely. Facebook is Coventry Rocks. Instagram is Coventry Rocks _ Twitter and YouTube as well. If you want to kind of see videos of local places before you visit them, then have a little look on YouTube.
Brilliant.
Check us out.
Excellent stuff. You are everywhere. Well, look, it's been an absolute joy having you on, Jess. I think we've done really good parenting. This is, we should do this show weekly, like Loose Women, but parenting.
It's like a therapy session. It's good.
Loose parenting. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And the web, Coventry Rocks is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I just know it's going to go from strength to strength, because you've had a really hard year and yet you're still putting brilliant content out, which is the key. Just keep at it. And definitely get back in touch next year, because we'll see where you are then, and I'll send you that link to Santa Claus as well. But yes, thanks ever so much. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
No problem at all. And I will speak soon. All right. See you later,
Take
Jess.
care.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye. So that's it. Massive thanks again to Jess for joining me today, and also for you for listening. And make sure you follow the podcast, because coming up over the next few months, after Christmas, well, through Christmas and after Christmas, there are some extraordinary interviews. Please, please, please remember the big SC, Santa Claus, is on this Sunday at 6 p.m. On YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. Don't worry if you do miss it, you can listen again, because it will just run and run after that, but it is live at 6 p.m. on that night. Remember, this podcast and all the others will stream on the usual platforms, which is iTunes and Spotify. So please leave a rating on there and subscribe to keep up to date. Follow Facebook, which is My Way of Thinking Podcast. Twitter's My Way of Thinking with the 3 on the end and not a G. That is Twitter's fault. Every week I also put the whole conversation on YouTube. If you just put My Way of Thinking Podcast, they'll all come up there. Great back catalogue. You can tell it's late, can't you? You can tell I'm tired. So I do apologise. I've got hiccups, heartburn. I'm falling apart here. Anyway, if you want to get in touch, you think you'd be a good guest, then email me. It's MWOT@AOL.com. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. Check out Coventry Rocks. It's a great website. And remember, Sunday 6 p.m, the big Santa. Until next time, God bless. Take care.